Hey everyone, Slayer here, and today we're going to be reviewing Volume 1 of Path to a Lightsaber. Path of a Lightsaber, I'm sorry. This just came out last month. It's a story written and artwork by Kenny Ruiz. He did a fantastic job, just to say, starting off with the art. Amazing job. I mean, some of the pages in here just look like so good. I mean, I could never draw anywhere near as good as this. So, this book already has a good start, I'll tell you that. So the artwork's beautiful. Basically, I'm going to run down the story like I usually do with my reviews. And then I'll talk about the things I did and then didn't like. So starting off, the story takes place about a crew. The story takes place between episodes 8 and 9. We have this small group of people traveling together. You got Nyoka, the main character. Barun, he's an ex-Rebel Alliance fighter. And then we have... Well, I'll explain the rest once we get on. But then we have like two other characters, a droid and then a captain that Nyoka and Barun are traveling with. And they're looking for this ancient ship. They come across this ship, which ended up being a High Republic era ship. Super cool. I love the High Republic. So anything that connects with the High Republic or any type of reference we may get, like, I eat it up. I love it all. So that was instantly something that grappled to my attention, is the connectivity to the High Republic, and we're all the way in the era of the First Order. So that was already interesting. So our heroes, are trying to get to the ship. They're trying to find an artifact that's inside the High Republic ship. And someone else is looking for that ship. For the first appearance, the Ren Prospect shows up. To me, this character felt like the Grand Inquisitor, though I guess into technicality of the hierarchy of the Knights of Ren, he's not even a Ren yet. Technically, he's not a Knight of Ren yet. This Ren Prospect is trying to become a Knight of Ren. He's trying to get on Kylo Ren's good graces to be elevated as part of the Knight of Ren core team. So that was a really interesting, intriguing character. A lot going for him. As soon as he, was introduced to us in these first pages of the story, he has this little robot with him. And, why Nyoka, Barun are on the High Republic ship looking for the secret treasure. The Ren Prospect boards their ship with the captain and her droid still on it, introduces himself to them. And basically, I thought this story was going to be, very, I would say more targeted towards children, a younger audience, but this story became very mature, very dark, very fast. Within the first half of this book, the captain and droid that Nyoka and Barun are traveling with get killed right away by the Ren Prospect. He does not play around with no one. He's standing on business. He's trying to get what he needs, get out, get promoted. So he takes out the captain and her droid because he's asking them information. They're wanting to be, smart mouths with him, and he's not with it. He takes them out. You got Nyoka and Barun on the ship still. Finally, they come across the treasure. It's a a lightsaber from a Jedi Master during the High Republic, and not just any Jedi Master, a Way Seeker. Those type of Jedi, went on their own type of missions that were not dictated by the Council, but dictated by the will of the Force. So that was really cool. The lightsaber is yellow. For those who are wondering what color, it is yellow. But the interesting is Nyoka, she doesn't have the Force. So, I know people get a little upset when non-Force users use lightsabers, which I don't really see the problem with that. But I really liked that, Kenny Ruiz really went on a technicality basis to understand how Nyoka views a lightsaber and how she learns to use it. And, people say lightsabers are really heavy, so Kenny Ruiz actually creates these like little slide inserts inside the pages and draws how she imagines you would use the lightsaber as if it was like a bucket of water or something, because they're both heavy. They both, I guess, in a sense, use the same techniques, and I guess on how you carry something heavy like that. So there was a parallel between the lightsaber and a bucket of water, having to carry, and the way she was, the way she was calculating on how to wield a lightsaber. She was, thinking and calculating how you would use a bucket of water, I guess, to fight, or to, fight, basically. So it was really cool to see that parallel. Never really thought about it. Like, a lightsaber could also be like the same way as a bucket of water, and how you would project or reject that bucket of water affects how your body would move. So I thought that was instantly another really cool additive to the story that, things we don't really ever think about, but when you're dealing with someone who doesn't have a Force, who's not trained to use a lightsaber, how does that everyday person think that a lightsaber should be used? And I thought that was a really great concept to start off in this first book, and I really hope that's something that they expand on in the next book. Though the second issue has not been confirmed yet, we can only assume that a second one is on the way, because this story was so good. And I think they should do a 3-volume trilogy book set with Path of the Lightsaber, and try to have it all done within The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker time frame. You have that year period, and I think in a year you can really flesh out character development and really do a lot with Nyoka. So Nyoka comes across, and Brune come across the Night Prospect. She uses some techniques, I wouldn't even say fight, but just to like block herself, just to like from being killed. She's trying to think of techniques of how water would deflect when, another object is coming towards it. Like, it's hard for me to explain, but I'm just wanting you guys to understand that it was really interesting and cool the way Kenny Ruiz draws on the page for you to understand how Nyoka processes and comes up with ways to train herself with a lightsaber, and I can't give that enough praise, because I just think that's such a cool concept. The way he executed it was really cool to me. So Nyoka, Brune, they get the High Republic ship working, the escape. The Red Prospect blows up their ship while they're escaping, so that they know that the people they came with are dead, and that they're on their own now, to really solidify and really gratify in Nyoka and Brune the consequences and the seriousness of what's going on. So once they escape, the Red Prospect is like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I find them? Coolest thing, and I love this, another High Republic connection. We're introduced to a new character. Her name is Yendi. She's just like Mardra Santeca. She has the ability to see through the force, to go through these hyper lanes to take you to like where you want to go, where you need to go. And she's able to give these paths to the Ren prospect. He has tortured her. This is not willingly. She's not willingly giving him this information. He has her hostage in a cell, and he electrocutes her with this pain, like Darth Sidious. He goes, well, he has this machine that electrocutes her, putting her in so much pain, forcing her to use her powers, draining her life as well, because I believe that drains your life doing that. Helping the Ren prospect. How he came across Yindi, where she's from, who she's connected to, where her character's going to go, is going to be awesome too. This is another character who's so interesting and compelling already. Like, okay, how does she learn to know that she had these powers to use? Where is she from? How did the Ren prospect capture her? You know, where's that journey going to go? You know, I think it's going to be really cool. I would love to see Nyoka rescue her. You know, I'm already coming up with these theories of what I think is going to happen. And, you know, this just goes to show what hard work in a story pays off. You know, I can't praise the story enough. You know, we've had quite a bit of Star Wars stories this year. But this is one of my top ones because I think this was such an original story with such original concepts and really just great new risks taken as far as like new characters, new storyline, new plotline. And especially in the era it's in, such a tight frame in between two films, I think it did a phenomenal job. So, you know, next, once Nyoka and Bruin are in hyperspace, they're looking through the High Republic ship. They come across this map in the ship, because it was a Jedi Master ship, filled with different Jedi Temple locations spread out throughout the galaxy. And we know during the High Republic that, especially during Phase 2, the Jedi were on this frontier expansion path, and many temples were built across the galaxy. And, you know, by the time Phase 1 rolls around, they have so many temples that they want to make a symbol, which leads into Starlight Beacon. So, you know, I think there's so many places you can explore with Nyoka trying to discover and learn more things about the Jedi. So she comes to this one planet. Let me see what it's called real quick. Let me see if I can find it. It is called... Arcadane. But this temple they come across has already been purged by the Empire. And it's so interesting. Nyoka comes across a statue of Darth Vader, doesn't know it's Darth Vader, thinks it's a Jedi, and copies the same pose of Darth Vader's stance. She copies that stance. And I just thought that was really interesting, you know, like, I just thought that was an interesting scene. Then, the Night Prospect gets a holo transmission from Kylo Ren, the Supreme Leader. He's giving him an update on his mission. The Supreme Leader's asking, okay, did you find what you were sent to find yet? And he's like, well, you know, I'm on the path of finding it, but there's these people that got a hand of it, but I'm going to get it, and I want to be, you know, an acolyte to the dark side and be a Knight of Ren. And then such a cool scene, you know, another cool imagery. You just have Kylo Ren, like, basically, do not fail Night Prospect, turns on his lightsaber, and goes to, like, as if he's going to kill him, strikes him through the hologram, and it was just a cool visual picture to show how serious the Supreme Leader is. And I think that just goes to show how much is on the Ren Prospect's plate, and hit that caseload of all the pressure he's dealing with. So I thought just that added another layer of, intensity and just overall coolness. So finally, Nyoku and Brune are at the Jedi Temple, and all of a sudden appears a Imperial Red Guard. The Emperor's Royal Guards appeared. But this one was not the normal one. This one was an alien species, and we know that the Imperial Guards are humans. This one ended up being raised by one of Emperor Palpatine's Imperial Red Guards, and was raised to be, that assassin, that killer for the Royal Guards. Him and Nyoka have a little duel, and he's so skillful, so calm, so intelligent. She realizes she doesn't need a Jedi Master. He is going to be the lightsaber master. And they decide to forge an alliance between neutral hatred of the First Order to become master and apprentice. And I think that's such a great concept. Two non-Force users, one trying to teach a younger one how to use the lightsaber only through experience of skills through weapons. And I just think it's such a great story, and I can't wait to see where that relationship goes, where that story and that journey goes. So that's going to be a really interesting take. So overall, I would say I'd give this story about a 10 out of 10, because I thought it was just so good. Again, I don't know much more I can praise Kenny Roos. All by himself, he wrote this story and drew all the pictures. Like look at this. This is art that's at the Jedi Temple, showing the training of the Royal Red Guards. This stuff is not easy to do. So, shout out to that. 10 out of 10 review. Until next time, may the Force be with you.